to episode 6 of Workbench Warfare, where we continue on with our project of converting the first issue of Gung Ho into a dreadnought. So in this episode, we're going to work on the boots and the gloves. So the first thing we're going to do is get these boots. They came out of the water just a minute ago. They're going to be fitted to Gung Ho's legs. Now, when they first went on, they're already starting to cool off a little bit, which is good because that means the other one will stay on. They were like that. There was a little bit of a gap right there. So how you fix that gap is you take your Dremel right there, the smaller bit, and you start spinning it and you drop that down into the boot so that you can lower that level for the depth of your leg peg to go in. And then you will see, with a little bit of finesse, we get this on here, and that leg will turn around and give us some mobility, as will this one. Now on this one, I did try some other method that I did not like, and I tried dremeling that out. So worst case scenario, if you're working on boots from wrestlers, other lines, other figures, and they won't stay on, you know what? Glue them. A lot of figures, Marvel Legends included, only have mobility at the upper thigh, and they don't have full mobility at the ankle. And if we're being realistic, most of you can't do that with your ankle. None of you can do that. If you can do that with your ankle, then you're the undead, and you got a shotgun round coming. So let's leave that for another time, but mobility there. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these hands outside and we're going to turn them into a black colored glove. All right, we're back with the next part of this segment. We've got the tray with our figure in it and some tools that we're going to need for this next segment, which is painting the gloves. Now, you might think, well, that's pretty simple. I just slap some paint on there and go. Yeah, that's pretty much how you're going to mess it up. So we know we're not going to need this guy right now. We're not going to need the arms. We are going to need these. And we are going to need these. There you go. And this box that I'm using is obviously to not get paint all over my nice patio. Putty. That is to keep paint off the peg that is going into a fitted part. And that becomes very important when you're painting. Now we're going to use a spray paint application on these, and we're going to do 2 coats, not back to back, obviously. We're going to move the tray out of there, and these are going to go into a peg board to hold them once we're done. And we've got a few different colors here. I like Citadel. We've got Death Guard green. We've got Mechanicus standard gray as opposed to non-standard. And we've got Macragge blue. I don't know if I'm saying that. It's not an exact match to Cobra blue, but it's a nice base for that, and blue jeans. Now, a good thing to remember is if you have a color like this, you want to make sure you have the matched color in a small container that you can paint on so you can take care of mistakes. I'm not feeling the gray. We're actually going to do gray on something else here in a second. So we're going to do the green. Obviously, I have the glove on because I don't want to paint my hands. Small. And if we don't get it totally covered, blow some of that fume away. Not too much, so I still get a little bit of a contact high. That's just for me. You can't get that through the lens. And we're going to put that over there to dry. And when that dries, there's a spot I didn't like. move the paint around the part, not the part around the paint. All right, now, once those dry, if something had a joint or something, which we're gonna do next, then we would move it. We'll put another coat on there because when you put weapons in those hands, you're gonna wanna manipulate them. We are going to use Mechanicus Gray for another project. I have prepared here a figure torso to do, and if you look really closely, I have mummified the non-removable neck with putty, and where the hands will go back in and where it connects to this part of the torso. And that also allows me to put a clipless peg in there to hold it. So we're going to change this guy's shirt to gray. You'll notice his arms are out so I can get his shoulders. This will take probably 2 more coats because there's going to be a lot of movement. And inevitably I'm going to miss something with the lighting out here. So it's going to look really, really good when done. I'm going to pop him in there. I'm going to take the bottom part of this torso right here. That's a pretty big opening, so we're not going to worry about covering that up. But that bottom one's pivotal to going to the pants of the character, which I'm actually not going to alter, but I am going to alter the shoes on that character, and they are on there really well. So then we're going to go back to what we covered in the last episode, which was our boil and pop. And then of course, once we paint something, we're not boiling and popping anymore, unless we're just crazy. We're going to then hair dry and pop. Yeah, you gotta be careful doing that. Get Mechanicus Gray on the gloves. All right, so that concludes where we're at for this part of the segment. Thanks for tuning in.